The Galactic War Council meeting was a tense affair. General Zorp of the Glorbian Empire slammed his three-fingered fist on the obsidian table. For the last cycle, we have been getting our collective carapaces handed to us. Our fleets are being decimated, our supply lines shattered, and our morale is lower than a Glazonian swamp slug. And who is responsible for this utter catastrophe? These humans. A murmur rippled through the assembled representatives. Humans, stick to, the newcomers to the galactic stage. A bipedal, soft-skinned species from a backwater planet in the unremarkable Sol system. They were considered a minor, non-threatening race. At least, they were. Our intelligence reports were clear, continued Zorp, his voice dripping with frustration. They have primitive technology. Their FTL drives are laughably slow. Their ships are cobbled together with what appears to be duct tape and sheer optimism. Yet, they are winning. How? High Counselor Vexer of the Cylon Confederacy, a being of pure energy shimmering within a containment suit, spoke in a synthesized, melodic tone. Our initial projections indicated a swift victory. General, the human military capacity was assessed as negligible. Their societal structure is chaotic, their governments fractured. They seemed ripe for a simple, overwhelming show of force. A simple show of force. Zorp scoffed. We sent the 9th Glorbian Armada to their primary colony, Proxima B, one of our most decorated fleets. It was supposed to be a demonstration. Instead, it was a massacre. For us. We lost 90% of our ships. A hush fell over the room. The loss of the 9th Armada was a closely guarded secret, a wound to the Glorbian ego that had festered for months. Now, it was out in the open. The battle logs were confusing, Vexer admitted. Rehumans didn't engage in standard fleet formations. They used small, agile fighters that swarmed our capital ships like angry insects. They repurposed civilian cargo haulers into makeshift carriers. They even attached massive kinetic rods to asteroids and flung them at our fleet. It was unorthodox. Unorthodox, Zorp's voice rose. It was insane. It defied every known principle of space warfare. O straps rockets to a rock and calls it a strategy. But it worked. And it's not just their tactics. He projected a holographic image in the center of the room. It showed a captured human soldier, a female, sitting in an interrogation cell. She had a defiant look on her face, a small smirk playing on her lips, despite her circumstances. This is Specialist Anya Sharma, Zorp explained. Captured after her fighter was disabled. We tried everything. Psionic probes, truth serums, even the dreaded Glorbian tickle torture. Nothing. She just sat there, humming some primitive tune, and asking our interrogators if they had ever tried something called coffee. He switched the image. This one showed a battlefield on a desolate moon. Wreckage of both Glorbian and human vehicles littered the landscape. But in the middle of it all, a human soldier was sharing his rations with a captured and clearly terrified Glorbian infantryman. They are unpredictable, Zorp said, his voice now a mixture of awe and fear. One moment, they are the most savage warriors we have ever encountered, fighting with a ferocity that borders on joyful. The next, they show acts of compassion that are completely illogical in a time of war. They rescue their wounded under heavy fire. They form bonds with their squad mates that transcend mere military protocol. They call it not leaving a buddy behind. Counselor Vexer shimmered slightly. Our psychological profiles are proving inadequate. We categorize species based on logical drivers, resource acquisition, territorial expansion, species preservation. The humans, they seem to be driven by something else, something we can't quantify. They call it hope. They refer to things like freedom and dignity. Abstract concepts with no tactical value. No tactical value. Zorp pointed to another image. A human ship, heavily damaged, its engines on fire, was turning back towards the Glorbian flagship. This ship, the Unconquerable Spirit, was dead in the water. Its crew could have escaped in the pods. Instead, they rammed our flagship, the Glory of Glorb, causing a critical reactor breach. Their last transmission was just 2 words: for terror. He sighed, the fight seeming to drain out of him. We are fighting an enemy that doesn't know when it's beaten. We destroy a fleet, and they build another one out of scrap metal and sheer willpower. We take a planet, and they start a resistance movement, using farming equipment and salvaged blasters. They write songs about their defeats, turning them into legends of defiance. They paint ridiculous pictures on the noses of their fighters. They name their weapons things like Problem Solver and Kindly Regards. A representative from the insectoid Cathar hive spoke, its mandibles clicking. Our drones have analyzed their communications. It is alarming. A significant portion of their non-official chatter during combat consists of what they call jokes. They make light of their own imminent destruction. One pilot, just before his ship exploded, was heard to say, "Well, that's not ideal." The chamber was silent. The greatest military minds in the galaxy were stumped by a species that fought with jokes, compassion, and suicidal determination. Finally, General Zorp looked around at the assembled leaders. "I have come to a conclusion. We are not fighting an army. We are fighting a species. And the thing that makes them so dangerous is not their technology or their numbers. It's that they are unhappy. Unhappy with us, or unhappy with being threatened. Unhappy with being told they are inferior. And a human who is unhappy, who has their back against the wall, is the most dangerous, inventive, and terrifying creature in the known universe." He deactivated the hologram. My recommendation to this council is simple. We cannot win. We do not understand the concept of a Pyrrhic victory, but they seem to embrace it. We don't understand why a soldier would sacrifice themselves for an abstract idea, but they do it daily. Therefore, my official recommendation is this. We offer them a truce. We give them back their colonies. We pay reparations. And then, we get out of their way and pray to whatever gods we have that they never get truly angry with us again. Because I have seen what they do when they're merely annoyed. I don't want to find out what they do when they are genuinely mad. The War Council, for the first time in its history, reached a unanimous decision without a single dissenting vote. The message was drafted. A plea for peace sent from the most powerful empires in the galaxy to the upstart apes from a pale blue dot. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Don't mess with the humans. It's not that they're stronger or smarter. Jets, just that they are, by their very nature, a glorious, chaotic, and terrifyingly stubborn problem that is simply not worth having.